Okay, we're going to listen into President Trump's full remarks here. If it goes past 7 o'clock, the big story will pick this up, and I will see you tomorrow for Fox News Sunday. Governor Tim Walz is one of my guests, exclusively with us, his first Sunday show since becoming the VP nominee. Senator John Fetterman, exclusive with us from Pennsylvania, and Speaker Mike Johnson. But now, let's listen in to former President Trump.
Lee, thank you very much, really, and thank you, a very big thank you to Pennsylvania. We love Pennsylvania. And as I was saying, oh, I love that. I love that chart. I love that graph. Isn't it a beautiful thing? But also beautiful because look at the number. That's the day I left office. It was the lowest Border Patrol, the lowest it's ever been. Illegal immigration. Today it's out of control. But I love it for other reasons, too. You know that. So thank you very much. And thank Lee and what Lee has done with that song. And it's such an honor to have it. I want to just let you know that tonight I return to Butler in the aftermath of tragedy and heartache to deliver a simple message to the people of Pennsylvania and to the people of America. Our movement to make America great again stands stronger, prouder, more united, more determined, and nearer to victory than ever before. We're going to make America great again. Going to win the election. Going to win the election. And to all Americans, whether you are Republican, Democrat, Independent, Conservative, or Liberal, or you have no label whatsoever, it makes no difference. Our movement, it belongs to you. It belongs to our country. It belongs to our country. And together, in just 1 month, we are going to usher in a new golden age of American security, prosperity, sovereignty, and freedom for our citizens of every race, religion, color, and creed. Exactly 12 weeks ago this evening on this very ground, a cold-blooded assassin aimed to silence me and to silence the greatest movement, MAGA, in the history of our country. MAGA. We love MAGA. For 16 harrowing seconds during the gunfire, time stopped as this vicious monster unleashed pure evil from his sniper's perch, not so far away. But by the hand of Providence and the grace of God, that villain did not succeed in his goal, did not come close. He did not stop our movement. He did not break out our spirit. He did not shake our unyielding resolve to save America from evils of poverty, hatred, and destruction. Yet we are here this evening in record numbers. This is a big crowd. This is a big one. This is a big one. Not only to mark the triumph of American spirit, but over, and you know that this is really, truly, in the truest sense, spirit over evil and adversity, but also to pay tribute to some of the best and bravest we have ever known. This field is now a monument to the valor of our first responders, to the resilience of our fellow citizens, and to the sacrifice of a loving and devoted father, a really great man. You know that. Forever afterward, forever after, all who have visited this hallowed place will remember what happened here, and they will know of the character and courage that so many incredible American patriots have showed and know, and they know it at a level never seen before, probably. First, I want to thank the men and women of the U.S. Secret Service who threw their bodies on top of mine without even a thought for their own lives. They were on top of me so fast. They were on top of me, and there was not even a moment of doubt in their minds. You watch those tapes, not even a moment of doubt. I want to thank Secret Service, a great Great people. They are great people. And in that moment, those agents displayed a devotion to duty that cannot be described, and they did it yet again less than 3 weeks ago when they really did a fantastic job. Another attempt. It was another attempt. We have an evil world. We have a very sick world. My gratitude to them is beyond measure. We also owe a tremendous debt thanks to the Secret Service counter sniper and a local police sniper who returned fire within seconds and stopped the shooter quickly and saved many lives. If he didn't stop, he saved many lives. He had a lot of bullets, a lot of ammunition up there with him. And we are, I mean, just amazing when you think they did it so quickly without any knowledge of what was going on, boom. And had that not happened, it would have been a very different story. It would have been many, potentially many people. I also want to express our thanks to the Butler Township Police Department, incredible people. The Butler Sheriff's deputies, Pennsylvania State Police, and all of the other law enforcement heroes, as well as the emergency personnel and doctors, the medical teams at Butler Memorial Hospital, Allegheny General Hospital, who rushed me and rushed some of these very badly wounded people. They were wounded, a lot of badly wounded people, and in particular, two people. And I tell you, they were very brave and great people. They were big Trump fans, and they still are. That means something. That was pretty amazing. You know, when I got up, I asked whether or not anybody was killed. I assumed that there would be a lot because I heard the bullets winging right over my head. They said probably 3. The doctors did such an incredible job. It was one great gentleman, but the other 2 have been amazing, actually. They've gone through it. They've gone through a lot. And when the crisis struck, they did really Pennsylvania proud. You've heard that expression, Pennsylvania proud. It's a great place. I went to school. I went to college in Pennsylvania. It's a great place. The people are incredible. Also, and I have to say, after returning to the field tonight, is one of the really brave Americans who was hit by the assassin's bullet, U.S. Marine veteran David Dutch. David, thank you. Thank you, David. Thank you, David. And David, we're thrilled to see your recovery is going well. Great doctors up here, I have to tell you, great doctors. Your courage is really an inspiration to us all, so I want to thank you very much, David. A great gentleman, great gentleman. I want to send our love to someone who could not be here because he has just undergone a major surgery related to the shooting. A man who was really badly wounded, like David, James Copenhaver, because James was a wonderful man, a big Trump fan. And Mr. Copenhaver is out there watching us right now, but he's in a hospital where they did some additional work, but he's in great shape. He wanted to be here so badly, but he's in great shape, and we appreciate it, and we're looking to his full and complete recovery. He will have a complete recovery. Thank you. Thank you very much. And of course, there's one more hero who could not make it back here tonight because he is no longer with us, right? You know who that is, right? Corey, our beautiful Corey. Corey is not with us tonight, and he should be. And we all miss him. He's become somewhat of a folk hero, I have to tell you. Who is with us is his beautiful wife and daughters and relatives, sister. Please, where are you? Where are they sitting? There they are. There's a lot of people. It's not easy to find people in this audience. Goes back further than you can see. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Great family, a great, incredible family. And he loved you a lot. And, you know, his wife said something very beautiful. The public, a lot of people, all of us, a lot of people have been very generous. And she said, I'd rather have my husband. That's a good thing to say. That's a good thing to say. I'd rather have my husband. Corey Comperatore was an incredible husband and father, a devout Christian, a veteran, and a proud former fire chief, very respected within the town. Everybody knew him. Few men volunteered to run into fires, but Corey was one of those who did. He ran into fires. I spoke to people that were with this guy would do anything. He was brave, right? Brave guy like you. And he was also a protector who put his life on the line for others, and he loved doing it. And when the sound of gunshots pierced the air on that July evening, Corey leapt into the fire one more time. In his last seconds of this earth, he threw himself on the top of his wife and daughters. He didn't want them hurt. He threw himself. He said he knew what was happening. He didn't want them hurt. And he was hit hard. He was hit hard. And he gave his life to shield their lives. Every father and husband in America hopes that if the time came, we would have what Corey had. Tremendous courage, tremendous guts, and he wanted to protect his family, and he did protect his family. At this time, it is 6/11, 12 weeks to the minute that the shooting began. I would like to ask everyone to join me in a moment of silence.